What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Welcome out, everyone. All of you great decoders around the world, wherever you may be, both male and female. My name is Logan, and this, of course, is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and having some fun decoding the baby, which every single one of you was once a baby. And ladies and gentlemen, this one really sucked me in. I had no idea I was going to decode this. I mean, I have no babies. I have no kids. I've had this decode shelf for a while. And just as fate would have it, here I am doing this decode on the baby. And, you know, I was going to do this a decoding short. It was like 8 slides, and now it's over 60. So hang on to your seats, get strapped in, get settled in, put on a pair of headphones, block out the outside world. If you have babies, if you have children, this one you're definitely going to want to share with your friends, etc., etc. This one was so much fun. Wow, mind blown a million times. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So really, this is where I started with this decode. Was this picture right here. I was actually decoding the placenta because the placenta is what feeds the baby inside the uterus, the womb, through the umbilical cord. And it is this process right here that forms the trifecta: the placenta, the umbilical cord, and the baby. Of course, you can add on other layers, the mother, etc. But this is the trifecta right here. And so I decided, this is how I first started. These are the very first slides that I've had shelved for over a year now. And it was the placenta, umbilical cord, and baby. This was the trifecta. And I decided, of course, break it down with numerology and add in a layer of alchemy. And we're going to bring in biology of this as well. This is going to blow your mind, ladies and gentlemen. But here it was. It was the placenta being 30, the umbilical cord being the 24 and the 16, which you could do it another way and just bring them together and give them the number 40. And the big takeaway was the baby, which was the number 6. And adding them all up, it becomes the number 76. And just like that, through alchemy and then the 1939 movie, The Wizard of Oz, we have the Wizard of Osmium. And I've shown how important this number 76 is. It's going to reduce down to the 13, which is going to be tied to the number 4, which is the cube, the square, squaring the circle. But nonetheless, there it was, the Wizard of Osmium, ruling over this trifecta: the placenta, the umbilical cord, and the baby. And what I really wanted to do, and this is, again, how I started this decode out last year, was taking these numerology outcomes and bringing them into alchemy, which I've coined alchemology. And this is, you can do it from the single digits, but you can also do it just from the total digits that the word gives you. And so I decided to do it this way. So placenta is going to be tied to the number 30 and the element zinc. Zinc is an essential element for the immune system, the body, etc. Starts off with the letter Z, the last letter in the alphabet, the 26th letter in the alphabet. And then the umbilical cord, making up 2 words. It's chromium and sulfur, 24 and 16. Chromium comes from the Greek word color. And 16, sulfur, is tied to light. So it's light twice coming through the umbilical cord, down into the hole, and then becoming the baby, which was a dead giveaway. It's carbon. So we have the number 6, we have the 666. This is us as the beast below, the human being experience. That's why I often say, be the best little devil you can be. You got to have fun with this reality, folks. You can't take it so serious. But there it is, it's carbon. Carbon being the master of all elements on the periodic table, so to speak, or the king of elements, the 666 element. So really it comes down to the numerology output of these 4 elements making up the trifecta of the placenta, umbilical cord, and baby. And there you go, just like that. Bam! We have the yin yang. Zinc, chromium, sulfur, carbon, saying these 4 elements making up the numerology of this trifecta. We get the yin yang. And this is why the yin yang is so special and so important in being a human being, because inside your brain you have the 2 hemispheres, the 2 arms, the 2 legs. We are made up of duality, ladies and gentlemen, the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole 9 yards, the whole shebang. Okay, so there it is, starting off with the intro, ladies and gentlemen. That was the intro. That was when I got started with this decode. That is what I had shelved for over a year. I'm going to pull out the date. I don't even know what the day is when I first started that, but that was the intro. And let's get into the topics here. Number 1, we're going to talk about the Trinity. I've already kind of said that already. Number 2, the uterus, the womb. Number 3, certificate. Number 4, tree of life. Man, that's just so special. And number 5, the last one, prison cell. So let's get into the very first topic now, ladies and gentlemen, called the Trinity. And again, we're going to go right back to this right here. And when you do the alchemy or the alchemology again is what I've coined from taking numerology, moving the total outputs into elements on the periodic table, and then adding these up, and we get alchemy and numerology added together. And the outcome of numerology was Osmium, the Wizard of Oz. But when you take zinc, chromium, sulfur, and carbon, and you use the trusty calculator and you add them up, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have a big takeaway, a very, very big takeaway. So what does it mean to be a baby? Well, it means you're golden, the golden baby, because 161, the output of these 4 elements, is the golden ratio, which is tied to nature. All right? It's tied to nature. It's tied to the sun, which will be tied to Ra, and all the other deity names out there that are tied to Ra, the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, Yaldabaoth, Lucifer, Jesus. They're all in there, ladies and gentlemen. Allah, whatever you fancy, Mazda, Brahma, what do you fancy? They're all the same. That's all part of the same construct, just told in a different story. But there was the big takeaway, 161.447. And when you say this through the magical spell of 161.447, there it is, we get the 113. And this was a big one right here because, as I've shown before, bam, we get into being role played. See, this 113 is the 30th prime number. You add up the 113 and 30, you're going to get 143, which is a permutation of pi. But the 30 is a big one because it's tied to role play, it's tied to demiurge, it's tied to the new age name of the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh called Jehovah. That's 30. I know that well. I was raised in that organization. And it's tied to this element zinc, which we go back up here, and it's tied to the placenta. Right here, we go right back up to the placenta, and the placenta is what started it all off, and it's that 30, the 30. And you'll see the 30 if you start to pay attention in your reality. You'll start to see it come alive. 30 plus 65 is 95. That's one half of the I am. Zinc, when you say that is 16, the word hell is 16, the word light is 16, sulfur is the 16th element, the tower is the 16th card. I'm going to show all this stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, are we being role played? I say we are. I say that you don't have as much free will as you think you have. Your life is already predestined and scripted out. We live in a scripted reality, and it starts when we're a baby coming into this world and birth, and we're part of the golden ratio. We're part of light slowed down into physical matter, which is carbon-based. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But this is just definite in my book right here. I'm going to support that as I continue to go on with this decode. So let's break down the beginning of this, where it all starts with the placenta. Once the egg gets fertilized in the uterus, the womb, then the placenta, and all this starts to take place. The placenta is the tree of life. We're going to talk about that, but it's really this number 30, and this element zinc being 16, light being 16, hell being 16, because then the placenta's down here in hell. It's light slowed down into physical matter. And this element right here, zinc, and tied to light and the placenta giving birth to the baby, is we now move into carbon. We're going to talk about these in a little bit, but we're going to now move into carbon, the baby. And this is what it looks like when you say carbon. Carbon is a 20. We have a birthday, which is 20, and we end up getting birth into duality. These are all 20. You notice it's in the same numerology. Why just Chaldean? Because it's the oldest known numerology cipher on the planet. And if you're not using it through your decoding efforts, I would suggest highly that you do, because you can clearly see the power in Chaldean numerology. Once you start to add in other ciphers, you can easily get more connections, which I'm not poo-pooing on that, but I'm just saying is just try to stick with one and you'll have a much better narrative. You'll have a tighter narrative, a tighter ship, so to speak. So there it is, starting off with a bang right there. Zinc into carbon, placenta down into the baby, into duality. And this is what it looks like from the cards of illumination to get the picture into the tarot. And there are several ways to do this. So this is the 30th card, how I learned the cards of illumination. These can change into many different numbers, but I learned from the sacred symbols of the ancients from 1947. That's the book I studied from under my friend Sharon, because some people say, well, the pentacles are the last suit. Well, in the tarot they are. But the cards of illumination, they have their own set of merits and standards. And this is the 30th card in the deck. And we tie it to zinc, the placenta. And this is what the tarot is in the exchange. The diamonds are the pentacles. And what does this card mean? It means holding on tight, not wanting to let go. Some of you think that you're trapped in this reality. Well, that's primarily what this card would mean. This would be the demiurge. Demiurge equals 30, Jehovah equals 30. It would be the demiurge holding on to all the energy down here, not wanting to let it go. Being the ruler of the placenta, the tree of life. And then coming down the cord, dropping down into the hole, going down into the tunnel, and then you become carbon. And this is what it looks like to be carbon. Here's the 6th card in the deck, the 6 of hearts. Coincidentally, there's no such thing as coincidences. But the December 25th card, the card that represents Christmas. What does Christmas mean? Forget about all the gifts and Santa Claus and all that stuff. Santa Claus is 30, by the way, coming down the chimney, which is the umbilical cord. But December 25th, Christmas, it means to celebrate life. It means now you're a human being. That's all it really means. Forget all the trees, the fluff, the no nonsense, all that stuff. Forget all of that. Christmas means the celebration of life. You're now a human being. And this is the tarot card to represent that. The 6 of hearts becomes the 6 of cups. So when you're a baby and born into this world, this means nostalgia, going back to childhood, becoming magic again. What do you want to be when you grow up? I ask this often on my readings with people. What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I'm already grown up. Well, not really. You're still a kid. Start believing in magic again. What do you want to be when you grow up? This is what it means to be a baby. Right here. The 6 of hearts, carbon. All right. And this is the December 25th card. When the sun rises out of its death from December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, the sun ends up moving 1 degree, and we now have the birth of the sun again. And we're the sons and daughters of God. That's exactly how this works. We're celebrating life. But are we stuck in this box? It's very interesting because this 4 of diamonds card, the 30th card in the deck, is tied to this fast food restaurant. And I did a decode on this. Not many people have watched this. I only had 1.1 thousand views on this. But if you're somebody who's eaten at this, it's an American restaurant, Jack in the Box. The humor, this is where the architect of the universe, whatever created this reality, this is its humor. That's why I say God's a comedian. Because this restaurant, Jack in the Box, was formed on February 21st by Robert Oscar Peterson. Here it is. And what do you think the February 21st card is? That's right. It's the 30th card in the deck, the 4 of diamonds. And what is the box? The cube. That's why there are 4 diamonds on here. And we go into the medicine card, and we're going to do this. It's the follow the rabbit, Neo. What is the rabbit? The placenta. You follow the rabbit down into birth. And now you're Jack stuck in the box. And now you can't get out. Maybe, just maybe. I mean, the word nightmare equals 30. Check out my bloodline Decoded. I broke down all the fallen angel story and all that stuff. We're all part of that. But here's where the middle sector comes into play. Now we have the umbilical cord. So focus your attention on the middle here. The umbilical cord, which, connects the placenta to the baby, which carries all the nutrients. This would be, tied to Lucifer, the light bringer, bringing you the light down into the reality called duality, carbon-based. And we have the Knight of Wands and the Three of Wands from the Jack of Clubs and the Three of Clubs, because the 24th card in the deck is the Jack of Clubs, and that represents our chromosomes. And then the Three of Clubs, which is tied to the Game Master. If you were a fan of Alice in Borderland, that show, they said this is the Game Master. Well, of course, it's tied to light. And this is light coming down the umbilical cord. The placenta is giving birth to light. It slows down and this is the blood. The blood enters the body. It feeds the embryo. The baby gets created. And when you look at these two tarot cards, the Knight of Wands is really a knight of action. It's a mental card. It's moving into action. In the tarot, this is going to be the first suit representing fire through this methodology. And then we have the Three of Wands, which is coming down to earth and realizing, oh man, I got to play the game now. So now I'm going to launch what am I going to be doing down here? And you're deciding upon what you're going to do, and then bam, you land up as a baby. And now you're living through this. Now you're living like a little kid, believing in magic. What do you want to be when you grow up? That's exactly what we all encounter as a baby through this methodology right here. It's so beautiful how all this stuff works. Really, really is when you synchronize all these layers. And then again, a little bit further with this through the umbilical cord, how important the job is of the umbilical cord. Again, it's light going down into the hole. The hole would be from the placenta down through the hole here and going into the tunnel, into the navel, and we get into the X chromosomes. I decoded the DNA. Here's the first photograph of DNA. And it's tied to light. Light is 16. Here's the 16th element. It's light coming down into the hole, becoming a baby. We have our X chromosomes. See how all this stuff works? And ultimately chromium comes from the Greek word chroma, which means light. So you have light coming down the tunnel through the umbilical cord, emptying out into the navel and becoming part of the embryo, which eventually becomes a baby, which is carbon-based. And now you're living the life of the Christ. Christmas, being birthed into this world, celebrating life. That's all it means. That's all it means right here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's how the medicine cards stack up through the alchemology. The medicine cards, the 52 cards of the medicine, how valuable these are. Insects, animals, reptiles, to describe the narrative of how this reality works. Well, again, follow the white rabbit. The white rabbit represents the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, Santa Claus. Santa Claus is 30, coming down the chimney. The chimney represents the umbilical cord. It's a no-brainer. The roof would be the placenta. The umbilical cord would be the chimney, and then ends up down in the house, which is the baby, which is you and I. So it's follow the white rabbit, and then it goes through. What's so fascinating through this explanation here is chromium and sulfur representing the umbilical cord are the two birds in this card deck. And they're the two blackbirds. It's the crow and the raven. It's so interesting that there are two birds to deliver their messages through the umbilical cord. This is more Lucifer energy, the light bringer, okay, to deliver to the movie, to play out the movie. And then just like that, we become the serpent. And it's the snake. And what is carbon-based? It's all around the two serpents, 666. The two snakes, which is the Kundalini, the Ida and the Pingala, if you get into the chakra systems. That's how amazing this whole thing is. And these people that made these card decks, I mean, they're not, I guarantee you they're not sitting down at this layer and creating their cards based upon what I'm showing. I'm decoding it, they coded it, but they didn't code it based upon sitting down with all these layers. Numerology and alchemy, and I just don't think so. But here's how the expression of the tarot looks, straight up. Not using the cards of illumination, but we have the 30th card in the deck using the Fool as 0 and 22, if you're a fan of the tarot. It's the Mighty Eight of Wands. And this card means moving quickly. This is lightning because lightning equals 30. So this is lightning, coming down from the placenta, going down into the hole, and then the 2 tarot cards representing the umbilical cord to carry the light down into the carbon-based duality. It's the 3 of Wands and the Tower, the mighty explosion of the Tower. This is how beautiful this is. And then we get the Lover's card in the major arcana. And we have the baby. And we have, we have the male, female, the Kundalini, the 2 serpents, which is the masculine and feminine. That's exactly what we all are. You're going to be masculine or feminine dominant, but this is what it means to be a baby. And this is the Trinity right here. This is the pulse of light, and then the transverse electromagnetic wave, which is the Kundalini chasing that. Okay, there's the light above, the pulse of light. And we're carbon-based. So beautiful. Then you get to the 5 where you get into your identity. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next topic. Are we having fun yet? Let's get into the uterus, something I know nothing about because I don't have one. But some of you ladies have, well, all of you ladies have one, I should say. Some of you, all of you ladies have one of these. So uterus, have you used it? Has it been used to create a baby? There's the picture of it. I just think it's so fascinating. Now we get into biology. Biology combined into numerology. Notice they end up ending the letter Y. Biology, numerology. So it's uterus 26 and source. I keep saying the source code. Source 26. How about that? And this is what gives birth to create players, because the game needs players on the world stage. Otherwise, without us, there's no game. And, it's just interesting. Now we bring in Hollywood movies into this. We have biology, numerology. Now we have, Hollywood movies. And, what do you see here? You see the flux capacitor and the letter Y. Well, that letter, this symbol right here fits right here. There it is. You see it right there? I showed this in in my Prison Planet 2 Decoded, or one of those. I don't remember. I have so many decodes now, but there it is. And I know this fits there exactly the way this is what makes time travel possible. Well, how would you fit that? How would you fit that in the context of this baby decoded? Well, every time a baby is born, it's time travel. It's spirit coming down into physical matter and now having a chance to experience this game called life. And, the 88 was really big because we bring alchemy into it. And we get this element yttrium to tie it all together. Yttrium having that letter Y on there. There's the letter Y in the flux capacitor. There's the letter Y right inside the uterus where the baby is born, where the placenta is put into. And yttrium is 88, which is probably why the 88's on there. How many miles an hour for time travel to be completed? 88. And then, when you say yttrium, it's 22. And 22 becomes the queen. And of course, you queens out there, you ladies. The queen bee is what runs this reality. It ain't the masculine. It's the feminine that has all the say, because males can't procreate. So who has the power? The female have the power. And if you're a male and you can own that and you know that, well, there's more power to you, because to me, that's the way it works. The feminine runs the show. The king oversees it, but the feminine runs the show. It's the queen, and then the queen is tied to Taurus. Taurus is a 22. And what's so interesting about Taurus? Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is ruling sex and love, which is where the uterus comes into play. And then you get into the shape of Taurus. And it's all there. I've shown this before in my Superstar Decoded, how Taurus fits into the sun coming down and becoming man or woman. And this symbol of Taurus is right there representing the entire uterus and the womb. It's all there. It's pretty easy. And then this what makes time travel possible, to make babies, to create players for this game of life, it's the flux capacitor. And as again, right there, 22. So there you go, 22, 22, 22, all in the same cipher, using these big words: astrology, movies, biology, numerology, alchemy. It's interesting. They all end with the letter Y. Alchemy, numerology, biology. And there's the letter Y right on the 39th letter. And Lucifer, through the original spelling, through the Hebrew spelling of its numerology, it's 39. The light bringer, bringing the movie to you. And there's radon and plutonium in there. I'm not going to get into that now, but just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have astrology, numerology, Hollywood movies, biology, and alchemy, all blended together to show you how this whole thing works. So when we go back to this 26 in the uterus and the womb is 19. 19 is tied to the sun card, but the uterus being 26 and source being 26, we then get into the tarot to give us the picture. And this is the 26 card in the tarot. It's the 4 of Wands, and it's happy home. Because what pops out of the uterus, the womb, it's a baby. And then you get the family. And it's happy home. And it's the 4. 4 meaning the cube. 4 meaning life. And this 26 card is going to be tied to the 17th card in the Cards of Illumination. It's the 4 of clubs. Now, these came first. The tarot came second from my research. But it doesn't matter because the 26 is going to reduce down to an 8 and the 17 is going to reduce down to the number 8. Yod-Heh-Vah is 26 in the Hebrew. Yod-Heh-Vah is 17 in the Chaldean. All right, and then here's the 17th card in the tarot, the major arcana, telling you, showing you that from the uterus, all of us were born into this world and we're all stars down here. And, you know, I would hope by now the majority of you are shifting the way you perceive this reality and you're becoming the star in your own movie instead of giving all your energy away to the other people on the world stage who just want your energy because they want you to be an extra in their movie. So go be the star in your own movie. That's what you designed to be like, being a star here. I would hope that you all have shifted your ways of doing things. So now let's get into the certificate, which is what pretty much everybody gets. The certificate of birth. This one was a funny one. This is where you're going to get the Jesus Christ Superstar experience. I continue to say that. I will continue to say that. Everybody out here playing this game of life is the Jesus Christ Superstar experience. That's why Jesus Christ, through the illustrations and pictures, was an androgynous being, male and female, representing us both. So certificate of birth, 66, one short of 666. And the confirmation was the city of Jesus' birth, Bethlehem. Here's the latitude, longitude, 31 degrees north, 35 degrees east. And simple math, 31 and 35 is 66. You got Route 66 in the United States. Go study the length of that, decode that. You'll get some nuggets there. It just goes on, ladies and gentlemen. But how about this one right here? This one was a big one. Bringing the number 66 into the string of the golden ratio. Again, we're tied to the golden ratio with a 161 through the placenta, the umbilical cord, and the baby. Showed that earlier. So if we bring the 66 from the numerology of the certificate of birth into the string of the golden ratio. Now, I had to modify this because when you go to this website right here, Sabidium.com, and you type in 66, you're going to get the number 123. And this is because this website does not account for the 1 point. It doesn't account for the digit number 1. But when you use the digit number 1, it's going to increase this by 1, and it's going to be 124. Which is why I have it here. So you can look at it any way. You can look at it, the 123, these numbers are going to encroach, but I feel like you add the 1 point in and it gives a different measure of, I think it's, not saying it's more accurate, but it's going to give a more definitive measurement here. And this 124/125 is going to be tied to this element right here called tellurium. Tellurium being the 52nd element. Remember, prison planet. Prison planet. If I just go to numerology, and I type in prison planet, it's 52. And 52 is this element tied to the 66, tied to the certificate of birth. How about that? And this is the icon the Royal Society of Chemistry uses, this earth right here. And what's so interesting is when we go look at this on the periodic table, tellurium's right here. You click on this, and the average is 127, which is the 31st prime number. But you come down here to the oxidation states and isotopes, and here's that 124. Here are some of the common isotopes for this element. Here's the 124, and here's the takeaway. Here, this is the clue, the subtlety that you got to look at. You look at the natural abundance percentage, and what do we have here? 7.07% for this 124, which is tied to where this 66 appears, right there. And this is really important because I did a decode on this band right here called the Eagles. And the Eagles' birthday. Now, they sang one of the most famous songs, which I'm going to break down here in just a second, Hotel California, which I did a decode called Hotel Capricorn. Same outcome. But as fate would have it, the 5 band members, I got these names mixed up. Some of you, I know you're going to get anal at me about this, but Henley and Walsh should be switched. But if you add up these birthdays, 22, 6, 21, 8, and 20, you're going to get 77. 77 is these guys that sang Hotel California. And you go back to this, and there's the 77, there's the 124, tied to tellurium and 52, and prison planet. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. All right there. And it's tied to our eye. This element 77 is tied to iridium, which comes from the Greek Iris, the goddess of the rainbow, which is why you have this dragonfly. The great dragon got hurled down into you. It's light slowed down into physical matter, spirit into matter. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. That's what this means. And when you look at this song right here, that was used in the classic movie, Groundhog Day, by Bill. If you haven't, I've decoded this. This is off my Prison Planet Decoded, but it's I Got You, Babe. You know, this is Baby Decoded. Think of the humor about what I'm showing you here. Sonny and Cher sing this song, I Got You, Babe. Now, Sonny Bono wrote it, and his name is 82. And 82 is lead, and it's lead to gold. That's what lead is, tied to carbon. And then 82 in the string of pi, which is what we're living on, the perfect circle, it's found at the 52nd decimal digit, and there's the prison planet. You see, I got you, babe. That's what he was singing about. I know he's maybe singing it to Cher, but you see the comedy, what this guy's being used for is telling us the story. The hidden message is that reality's got you. You're now in the prison planet. You're now in the Hotel California. You're now stuck inside this body, which is a baby. That's what all this stuff means right here. And here's the breakdown. I know, here's a bright light for you. If that didn't wake you up. So I'm gonna break this down. I didn't break this down like I'm gonna do right now, as I did with my Hotel Capricorn. Here are the full lyrics of Hotel California. Here they are. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is how dialed in. Now, Glenn Fry and Don Henley wrote this song. Now, do you think they knew Chaldean numerology? Do you think they knew that the game of life equaled 59? And the total amount of verses here are 59. This is the last line right here, which says, but you can never leave. It's line number 59. The game of life is 59. Do you think Don Henley and Glenn Fry, who wrote the song, you think they knew that? That's a big maybe. I would say it's a big maybe. They're artists writing music to sing songs. Okay? But it doesn't really matter whether they knew it or not. I'm telling you, this is the message. It's 59. This has a total amount of 59 verses. The game of life is 59. What is 59? It's the 17th prime number. And what is the 17th card? As we showed, it's the star card. It's you becoming the star of the movie. I mean, some of you aren't stars. You're extras in the movie. You just don't want to be a star. Maybe this is your wake-up call. Stop paying attention to the movie. Pay attention to your movie. You're the star. And according to the Eagles and Hotel California, their most famous song, one of the most airplayed songs ever, 59 lines, tied to the game of life, you can never leave. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. And this is why I think some of you think you're never getting out of here. And I know that may be horrific for some of you. For me, it's not, because it's like you're going to change characters. You're going to get another shot at this. If you level up in this reality, well, you may just get a better position. But if you whine and bitch and moan and complain about your life and it's their fault and it's them and it's they, you may not. You may go down, and it may get even worse for you on the next round. If this is true, but this is what this methodology is saying right here. So when I did the numerology of but you can never leave, the last line, line 59, it's a 78. 78 is tied to the number 397. 397 is the 78th prime number, and what you can do with this, for all these prime numbers, to get a bigger clue, is add up the number with the prime. What's 397 plus 78? 457. And what is 457 tied to? Ra. Because if I take the 457 and I go to the new numberempire.com, 457 is the 88th prime number, folks. Bam! Just like that. It's tied to Ra, the sun god, which has to be tied to the Yod, the Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Mazda, Brahma. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. That's why trying to be right, and it doesn't, they're all the same. It has to be all the same. But it's Ra, the ancient Egypt sun god. And 88 and 226 is 314, which is pi, running the perfect circle. So what this is saying right here is you're not getting out of the game. That's what this is saying. You're just going to reincarnate into a different avatar next time around. And that's what I'm saying. Be the best little devil you can be. Do the best you can. Check off all the boxes. Be service to others. That may be the reason. That may be how you level up in this reality. It's a possibility, ladies and gentlemen. And then what about this 78? Let me go back to this. But you can never leave. If you go to the string of the golden ratio and you type in 24, which is our X chromosomes, there's the 78. And this is our chromosome, 24. It's tied to chromium, color, which is tied to the umbilical cord, light coming down into physical matter. I showed that. You see, you can never leave, 78. So how many total tarot cards are there? 78, if you include the Fool as the 22nd card. So it's so very interesting with all this, ladies and gentlemen. So according to the Eagles in Hotel California and Glenn Fry and Don Henley, who wrote this song, you ain't getting out of this game. You're in this game, that's it. Stop complaining and stop bickering. Go do something with your life. So getting back to this certificate of birth, being the number 66, let's do the alchemology of it. Now you can do all the single digits, but let's just do these total digits. So certificate 37. 37 is tied to eye. Eye in the sky is 37. Have you watched My Eye in the Sky? 37 is tied to the word shepherd. And then the word of, which is a filler word, is tied to phosphorus and Lucifer, the light bringer. And then we have birth. We're now birthed into time because time equals 14, right? Time equals 14. And now we get into silicon. So it's these three elements that make up certificate of birth, which is what we all have. And when we add them up, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we get this number 144. How big of a number is this? It's the crown chakra. Go check out my DNA. The two people that photographed the first DNA, their names in numerology equal 144. Rosalind Franklin and her co-partner in science to take the first picture of DNA, their names equal 144. Tied to our DNA, ladies and gentlemen, certificate of birth. It doesn't get any more clear than this. And this 144 is tied to the matrix and Neo. Now it's going to be tied to two elements. It's going to be neodymium and promethium. 60 and 61. 60 and 61 is going to be 121. 121's antimony, which is the all-seeing eye in your brain, the implant in your brain, the voice in your head that runs you. But straight up, the average weight of Neo, it's Neo. See, this is why you and I and everybody here, we are the Neo character. That's what the Matrix was trying. He's coming down into the Matrix. Neodymium is magnetic. 60 means new twins. Okay, that's the Kundalini. That's how accurate this stuff is right here. Certificate of birth. And I will guarantee as my truth that the Wachowskis who created the Matrix, we're not sitting down with certificate of birth and using alchemology to base Neo. And remember, if you watched my John Wick Decoded, Keanu Charles Reeves, his alchemology is 143, which is the other way to neodymium, which was his name in the movie. Pretty interesting. All right, so let's get into the last topic now. The Tree of Life. This is my last one. I think I have one more after this. This one was a fun one right here. The Tree of Life. And here it is, the Tree of Life, which many of you know, it's the placenta. There's the Tree of Life right there. The placenta. The Tree of Life is 48. And this is how beautiful this is. We get the expression of the tarot as a baby. We get fed by the Tree of Life. And this is what runs everything, the role playing. And it's the Knight of Cups through the tarot. And what does this card mean? It means looking for love. So it's the demiurge. It's Ra. Whatever you want to call it. It's the spirit that wants to come down and experience this game, and it's got its hand out with this, and it's looking for love. Not just love intimacy, but also love in loving things in life. What do you want to create as a creator? That's why I'm saying go be a creator instead of being a complainer. People love to complain more than they like to do create. You got to flip that. And love is all about creation. That's what this whole reality is based on, is creation. Looking for love. And I even decoded it with my Two Thieves Decoded. This is one of my favorite decodes I've done. And I showed that the cross that makes up the cube, one of the cards that were in the cross is the Knight of Cups, the Jack of Hearts. If you're a Jack of Hearts, it is the 11th card in the deck. It's tied to Lucifer, the light bringer. It sits in space 39. Lucifer's 39 through his numerology. So Lucifer and Jesus, the light bringer, the light of the world, one and the same. You're having a Jesus Christ superstar experience. Be the best little devil you can be. and it's looking for love. This is how the game creates, through wanting to create, wanting to hump and make babies, or create a business, or create a corporation, or whatever it is you're going to create. Instead of complaining, go create. That's how you end up making the most out of your life here. So Tree of Life through the expressions of numerology and now the tarot. I'm going to show you the two nouns. So tree and life are the two big takeaways. Of is a filler word, not saying that this is the devil card, by the way, which is, light. But the tree is 16. And look at what the tarot card that represents the tree. What does this look like to you? A freaking tree. The tree of, and then life is you, the star. You're given birth. And now you're playing out this game. The tree of life. It's so beautiful. And this is, the Big Bang, the explosion of energy. It's just so beautiful how this is just incorporated like this. And then if you take the string of the golden ratio and you locate this 48, Tree of Life is 48. 48 appears at the 16th and 17th decimal digits. 16 and 17 is 33. That's the number of the Christ. That's how many vertebrae the majority of you have, 33. Going up the spinal cord. And it's the 96, the total amount of digits. 17 being the star card, right there. Okay, so life is the star. 48 digits from the Tree of Life into the string of the golden ratio is going to be the star card. It's the yin yang. That's what it means to be a star. It means you are now playing out duality. Okay, you're playing out duality. That's exactly what this means right here, where this 48 is located, digits 16 and 17, which is 33. And then if you say this is absolutely fascinating. I've been doing this quite a bit. I've been holding off, but I'm releasing more and more of this as I go into my decodes. But you take the total outcomes that are very important and you say these letters through numerology. So we have 73 total letters through saying 16180339887498948. 17 numbers, and here they all are, speaking that magic spell, and look at what we get. 314. And remember, radium 88 plus 226, its atomic mass is 314. So this is always, this continually keeps going back to Ra. Radium, Ra, the sun god Ra, the sun. This keeps going back to the sun. And this is the soul below sun, the Tree of Life. Inside the womb, the uterus. It's pretty crystal clear. And since this is 73 letters, well, we go to mathematics again, 73 being the 21st prime number. We go right back to the tarot to get the picture. Bam! We get the world. We get the world, folks. So the Tree of Life, through this numerology, through mathematics, and then going back to numerology. And then we just observe the subtlety, 73 letters. It's the 21st prime number mathematics, back to the tarot, and how very fitting, how beautiful. It's the world card coming down into the portal. This would be from the placenta, going down saying, hey, I'm going to go play the game of life, and now you got to go through the umbilical cord. Now you become an embryo. Now you become a baby, and now you're carbon 666. And now you're in duality. That's what this tells us all here. It's so fascinating. Now, moving into where the origination of the Tree of Life came from, or one of the originations, it's the Old Testament, the Torah. It's Hebrew, Aramaic. And here's the original spelling, the numerology from the original letters of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. It's the Tree of Life. And here's tree. And it's the 16. Not only is it the 16, but it's the 79. 79 is gold. So the tree means gold. The placenta means gold. It's led to gold down here in this reality. 16 is tied to the word light. And the tree, there's the tree again. And it's the 16. It's a match of the Chaldean. Chaldean's directly tied to Hebrew in so many ways. And then it's life. And we get the 19. And 19 is the sun, folks. You can't get any more clear than this. The Tree of Life. What provides life? The sun. And then the placenta becomes the sun, which gives life to the baby. These are all fractals. These are all fractals. So that's what it's like to be a baby and to be a mom. To have this placenta in your body, you are giving birth it's the sun coming down to become man or woman. It's so beautiful how this all works. And just like that, we go right back to the certificate of birth. If we say these two cards that represent the tree of life, the tower and the sun, through numerology, it doesn't get any more crystal clear, 66. And we go right back to that certificate of birth, 66. So these are undeniable measures here, ladies and gentlemen. We are directly tied to the sun. The sun is, tied to Ra, Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, Yaldabaoth, Allah. They're all tied to the sun. Mazda, Brahma. So many correlations to the sun, which gives life to this planet. The light bringer, Lucifer. The light giver, or the light of the world, Jesus. I mean, it's all part of the same concept here. It's so beautiful how you look at this stuff. And this is why we're all Jesus Christ, having the Jesus Christ superstar experience. Be the best little devil you can be. 35 is the total output for the tree of life. We're living in, this is where simulation, this is a simulation. Right? This is how you get into these whole words right here. The concepts, simulation, 35. The first scripture in the Torah. This is a humdinger here. The first scripture in the Torah to talk about the tree of life was Genesis 2 verses 9. Here's the numerology of it. And just bam, look at that, 20 freaking 4. And now we get into the X chromosomes. And then we get into the picture of the first image of DNA. There's the X. Folks, this is so easy to see. And remember what this 24 is tied to. The number 78, and you remember what the 78 was tied to. You can check out it, you can never leave. But you can never leave. Tied to the very first talk of the tree of life. Tree of life, tree of knowledge is where it's at. So going straight to the tarot, if you're a queen of clubs, if your birth card is a queen of clubs, well, I mean, you know what you stand for. This is one of the cards of the operating system through the cards of illumination. It's a Jupiter card. So then you bring, the mighty Zeus into this. And it's the Queen of Wands. The queen is the queen that runs it. It's the queen bee. Card 35, the simulation. And then, when you say the Queen of Wands, it's 56 and, spirit into matter. Lights, camera, action equals 56. The speed of light equals 56. All in Chaldean, folks. And there's the connecting point, the Queen of Wands, how special this queen is. And you mothers, if you're a Queen of Wands and you're a mother, well, now you know where you stand with this. Like, you're born to be a mother. Like, it's just, it's the queen giving birth. Giving birth. Then we get into the medicine cards, the 35. We get into the horse. I mean, again, fractals. We rely on horses we ride horses. They give us rides. Well, ride or die. I mean, it's light slowed down to physical matter. These are all just analogies, but they can clearly be seen when you observe them. And this was a dead giveaway. I mean, horse being 22, queen being 22. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. The 22nd letter is the letter V in the English. The letter V is tied to our DNA. The upside down pyramid. It's just so simple to see with all this kind of stuff. The 35th card in the cards of illumination, the 9 of diamonds. The 9 of diamonds is going to convert to the 9 of pentacles, card number 73. And just like that, you're on television. And this is exactly how I feel it's working. We're being observed. We're being watched. This is a television show. This is a soap opera. That's why all these things are allowed down here, because how boring would it be if everything was always perfect and nothing went wrong? And everything was hunky-dory, and it was unicorns running around and marshmallows and fluffy marshmallow clouds and rainbows, and there was nothing to distort anything. It would get boring after a while. That's why this reality is based off of duality. That's why your body has pathogens and bacteria entering to it. What do you think created the pathogens and bacteria? You think it was the boogeyman that created them? No, the same thing that created your immune system created the pathogens and bacteria. That's how this works. So how about the etymology of television? You're on television. Oh, here's the etymology of it. The word television comes from the Greek word tele and the Latin word visio. And here is the numerology of these two words. Tele, 46, visio, 18. 18 is tied to the Christ, 46 is tied to our DNA, if you watch my DNA Decoded. But there it was, 64, bam! And now you get into the 64 square. Now you know, ladies and gentlemen, that when you see this checkerboard floor, it doesn't have anything to do with being Masonic. It has nothing to, sure, they use it. It has nothing to do with evil. It means you're in duality. You're living out what it means to be a human being. You're on the dance floor. That's what it means. You're on television. That's what it means. And this element right here, gadolinium, the average is 157. which is a prime number. But here is the story of the fish. Jesus and his apostles catching the fish. How many did they catch? 153, right there. How many possible codons in our DNA? 64, right there. You're on television. Tele. And then you get into the telomeres, and we're going to get into that. But it really comes down to this, the baby. The baby is 6. When you say 6, it's the 9. And when you look at the 6, you get the carbon. And you know, what's interesting is there's this 315. See, 6 is 315. You go right back up here. Here is the permutation of that. See how beautiful this is? So when you say 6 from the baby, 6 is a 315, which adds up to the number 9. But the 315 is a permutation of the 153. It goes all the way back to television. And this is Jesus and Christ. They both equal 18. You're the Christ on television. That's why Jim Carrey has the letters JC, which start in the Truman Show. 6 and the 9. There's the yin yang right there. And it's carbon. And if you take 6 and 12, you get 18. That's Jesus. Jesus and Christ both equal 18. Carbon, 666. 6th zodiac sign, Virgo, the virgin, where Jesus was born of a virgin. All these stories can be traced back to alchemy, numerology. It's all part of the predestined script here. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the prison cell. As a baby, right? We got to have fun with this. Instead of getting angry, go be a creator instead of a complainer. That's going to be my new tagline. You're in the prison cell, and here is the prison cell. It's your DNA. If you haven't seen my DNA Decoded, I highly suggest you check it out. Here's the first picture ever photographed of it by Rosalind Franklin. Right there, there's the X. The X is right here. It's the 106. The 106 is tied to the 46. Remember, in the Greek, right here was 46. The television, telomeres. And we're going to get into that, but it's palladium. It's tied to Athena in the Greek, and Pallas, the goddess of wisdom. And then it's tied to this element called seaborgium or seaborgium. And this is where we're going to get into, I think you're going to get into the Vatican and the Holy See. Okay, tied to the DNA. Revelation 21 verses 1, and the sea will be no more. Are we giving up our bodies into this age of Aquarius? I know a lot of you will completely fight that, but remember, we don't have control over this reality. As much as you think you do, don't have any control over this reality. And it really comes down to these few last slides that I have here, because this is what it means to be a baby. When you're born into be a baby, you have a cell. And this is the prison cell. This is the joke. Okay? That's why it's called the prison cell. All right? You're in prison. It's called the prison planet, which is 52, which I already showed. It's the cell. And the cell is time. You're stuck in time. Your prison is time. You only get so much time. And it's the nucleus. The nucleus is inside the cell. The nucleus is 31. Ride or die is 31. And then you get these telomeres that are at the end of the DNA that make up the strand of DNA. And these get cut off over time through aging. The telomere is 35, simulation is 35. These create the simulation, part of the simulation. We do and the chromosomes. Chromosome equals 47, the tetragrammaton equals 47. 47 is tied to silver, the silver city. We live in the silver city. It's called life. It's called the matrix. That's what they coined it, but it's just life, it's Earth. That's all it is. Earth, life, matrix, they're all 17. 17 is the star card, you're the baby. 14, God, Satan, they're all tied to the number 14. This is what it means to be a baby right here. Now you get biology, numerology, alchemy, tarot. So it really comes down to this as a baby, ladies and gentlemen. All of you were once a baby. Some of you have babies right now. Some of you have newborns. You have kids, you're raising them. Congratulations for being a parent. It takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes a lot of willpower to do it. It takes a lot of bearing in your life, a lot of self-sacrifice. But you have this cell. You have trillions of cells in your body. They're all trapped in your body. They ain't getting out till you die. Same thing with us. We're in a cell. It's called Earth. Here's the cell of life, the nucleus inside the cell. And it's stuck in time. And here it is to represent the picture, the temperance card. This represents the electromagnetic wave, the transverse wave. Temperance, the balancing act, the yin yang. The cell is the yin yang, which goes back to the chromosome, which is the two base pairs, which are right here, which represent yin yang right here, folks. This is what this represents. The yin yang, the chromosomes, the X chromosomes, the DNA, the telomeres, the nucleus, all that. Here it is right here with the picture, with the tarot. So beautiful. And then the 14th card in the card of illumination here is the Ace of Clubs, the start of it all. And this Ace of Clubs turns into, right here, it turns into the Ace of Wands, which is the 23rd card in the deck. And then that leads us right down into Silicon. See, go right back up here. So we have the Ace of Wands being the 23rd card in the deck, and we tied it to the 14th card in the deck. And then we get into Silicon being the 14th element, and Silicon is 23, blood is 23, and this is the 23rd card in the deck. You see how beautiful, and this is the Hollywood. This is the abracadabra magic stick right here, the magic wand to create the magic in this reality. Silicon's tied to the future. The technology capital of the world, Silicon Valley, and California, which is the crown chakra. If you lay the chakras over the United States, the crown chakra is in California. Silicon Valley, 14. Silicon parts, moving into computer chips. Are we moving into transhumanism? Will the sea be no more? Is that what it means? I don't know. So, ladies and gentlemen, woo, that was a fun one. That was a long one, I think. I don't even know. I improv all this kind of stuff, but what did you see? Would love to hear your observations on this baby Decoded. I hope you had a lot of fun on this journey. This one really, like, I literally put this thing together in a day. I worked on this sucker for about a day, but beyond how many hours I got into it before, but you know, just like a day. But that's how much it sucked me in, and I just worked on this for so many hours. And I'm getting quicker at it, but it was a lot of fun. And of course, my last decode being DNA and now baby. Like I said, I had no idea I was going to decode this. It was just popped into my head. I was looking for stuff and, oh, baby, and just as fate would have it. But would love to hear what you saw during this presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, just keep your comments cordial because I will delete them. I don't have any room for any toxicity, honestly. If you don't agree, totally fine. It's totally fine. But if you're going to leave a negative comment, trust me, it will get deleted. But I don't want any toxicity in my life, and you don't want any toxicity in yours, so why would you leave toxicity? Just a reminder. So instead of being a complainer, go create. We'd love to hear what you saw. Leave your comments down in the description. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later.